Alright, so this one should be a fun one. I'm sitting in a different chair today, and just randomly, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. I guess today is the day we talk about it. How do I start this? I feel like I've come a long way. Not just this year, but from let's say 2007, 2006, when we first started 4PP. Uh, it's weird because at that time when we just first started the show, I also got into my first serious relationship. I'd never had a serious relationship before. Um, I want to say part of it was just my timidness. I'm a very like at least back then specifically, I was a very like perfectionist. I wanted everything to be perfect, and I was like, I'm not gonna date this person unless I'm like 100% sure I'm gonna marry this person. So I was very timid to open myself up to somebody else, and I don't think I even realized it at the time. It was just me, and through some weird circumstances, and I'll talk about this in a different video sometime because it's something I want to talk about. I just kind of don't want to out this person because this uh, she's not in my life, but she may see this, and I don't know how okay I am with her seeing this, or I don't want to. I mean, it's long past. I don't think it's something that I need to bring up. I wouldn't bring it up specifically to try to hurt her. It's just it is something that happened. It is the truth, and I'm always okay like talking about the truth, so long as somebody can get something from it or learn something from it. And I think I learned something from it, so I would use it as a teaching tool for anybody else who would be willing to listen. I guess that's what I mean. But yeah, through that first relationship, it it was it did not end well. Certainly did not end well. And how do I say this? Anyways, I ended up very bitter after my first relationship. Um, Bitter is the right word. I don't know how else to say it, but bitter. Um, I think it became. I went on like a couple years ago to date some a really great person, and but I think maybe I don't know how much of it was specifically from the first relationship or anyways bitter because there's a good amount of time that I always saw it as like a men versus women kind of thing. Um, Not that I want to like destroy the female race or like sabotage them all the time, but I feel like there was a very big like pridefulness in me where and it may not even just be women, it just may be like my personality where it was like you don't want to lose, right? Oh, she. Just random example. This was never me, but like, oh, let's say your wife tells you to take out the trash, and you're like, why? Why do I have to listen to her? Why do I have to take out the trash? Because she tells me. I think there's a very like, for me, there was a big pridefulness of like, well, I don't want to do certain things because, like, I don't want to be a bitch. You see a lot of those TV shows where it's like, oh, whoosh, you're whipped. You're whipped, and I think there was for some reason there was something built up in me that was like always like I'll do this stuff for her, but I don't want to do it uh unless I'm a man about it or something like that. I remember I was very adamant about not opening car doors, and I still am a little bit that way. But like when I was in high school, or I guess in college, high school, college, like I would see a lot of guys like ooh, run around the door and go and open it up for them, and let the girl, and then run around like a doofus, run around back to the other side, and that's fine, man. To each his own. If your relationship that's what works for you, that's great. But for me, I was always like a very logical person. I was like, look, if I'm on that side coming, okay, first of all, if you're gonna do that, I feel like you should always do that, right? It's either that's part of your personality, that's how your relationship, and that's what you do, right? Or you don't do it, but occasionally, especially special occasions or something, then you go do it. Because for me, I always thought it was like a logical thing. Like it doesn't make sense if we're going some. Again, this is all has to do with my parents' relationship. My parents, they're typical. Well, not typical. I don't know. I think they're atypical. But their Asian relationship, they never. I didn't see a lot of like. God damn it! I didn't see a lot of like. Affection between them growing up. Like I still to this day, I've never seen my parents kiss. Never. Not once. And yeah, it's something I think I had to like face on my own because a lot of like relationship stuff did not learn at all from my parents. Like pretty much zero relationship stuff. I think there was like stuff that my mom told me about like girls and about, oh, this is the kind of girl you should get, David. And like it sucks too because a lot of the stuff she told me was okay. So this video is going all over the place now, but all right. So okay, I'll tell you the stories. I remember when I was young. This was probably high school, college. I asked my mom, was like, oh, like, how'd you end up dating Dad? Like, why did you and Dad end up together? And my mom was like, oh, it's because your father was the hardest working guy, and every morning he was awake. He woke up, and then everybody else was still asleep, and he was already awake. And I knew that he was gonna do his best to take care of our family, and that's why I married him. And I was like, oh, cool. That's pretty stand up of Dad. So yeah, okay, cool. And I was like, cool. I thought like that was like what women looked for in guys. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna work the hardest. I'm gonna work harder than everybody else. Like I remember when I used to play basketball, I would be like outrunning everybody. Like, big, tall, chunky Asian kid was outrunning, always chased down, never gave anybody a free layup. Always chased them down, dove on the floor for every ball. I thought that was like what women wanted. So, that's what I did. And it turned out like when I went to college, like, dude, that's not what girls want at all. They're like, why is that guy trying so hard? What a loser. But it's fine. I mean, it was part of my personality. You have to be yourself, and that's who I am now. And if it's gonna work out, it'll work out, I guess. And that's the way I see it now. But okay, where are we going with this? As far as bitterness, I don't know. I feel like it took a lot for me to get out of that bitterness. I think one of the helpful things was I remember there was a friend of mine who's gay, and I was maybe complain. I think at this part I was at the tail end of it, so I wasn't nearly as bothered by it anymore. But I remember I was joking with him, and I was like, "Man, yeah, women, dude, they're always doing this and they're always doing that, yeah." And he's like, I remember he was like, "Dude, you're only saying that because you never dated guys. Guys do the exact same shit." And I was like, "Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. How can you say it's only women if you never dated guys?" So it's just I remember that solidified my thinking is like, dude, it's a human thing, man. All humans are like jealous, and all humans are like, because like when I look back on my relationship and how my first one ended, it ended up with her like, you can point the finger. You can say that she cheated on me and she went off with somebody else, or you can say that I wasn't there for her and so therefore she decided to go find something else. The only thing I'll say about it is that I don't think she handled it in the right way. But again, I growing up now, I kind of understand how can you. It's not easy to break up with somebody, so I guess it's easier just to avoid the confrontation and go, do what makes you happy instead. I guess, I don't know. But I mean, I guess ultimately I'll just end it by saying like, I understand now that like we're not gonna make it unless we like work together, right? I mean, it can be a very like he versus she. You're looking at it as like I want to win the argument, or I don't want to lose this battle. But ultimately, and I think this goes with just for life in general. You're gonna have to work it out with people, you know, work it out with your spouse or your coworkers, or we're only gonna make it as a people if we work together. And I think it becomes a lot easier when you meet. First of all, when you get older, when you go through more things, it sucks because initially it's difficult the first time through. But I mean, after you've dealt with it a couple times, it becomes a lot easier. Your eyes get opened. You kind of learn more lessons, and you see things differently. That's one. And then two, I think when you meet the right person, it's a lot easier. Yeah, because there's certain people that I was a lot easier, like, what's the word? I don't want to say sacrificing, but like there were certain people that there's certain people that, oh my god, I just want to get in a fight with this person all the time. And then there's certain people where it's like, man, okay, if that's what you want, cool. It's just so much easier. I don't know why. I really don't. And I think I really understood that, like, I really, really started understanding that this year more. Because I kind of, yeah, it was a big curve, dude. You gotta learn. And I don't know. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, and I kind of threw this video together sloppily. But I hope it's somewhere in there you got something. Maybe you're going through some stuff, or maybe you just want to ask some questions after hearing this. Have a good one. Bye.